Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Dirt Info podcast. For those of you new or returning viewers who just haven't done it yet, if you can go ahead and hit the subscribe down there. We're growing ever so slowly. We do have a goal in mind, probably a bit of a stretch, but we're hoping to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So the only way we can do that is if y'all hit it down there. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Um, but Carter, that leads us to our very first segment, styling and profiling. And I think I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, I just got a Mars late model shirt on, like the series shirt. Um, but I got it at Fairbury 2 years ago. For I was with Ryan. We went in Labor Day weekend, just on a Saturday. We went down there. I don't even remember what the show was. It was just a Mars show, I think. I think I just
Yeah.
wanted a reason to go there.
We've learned over the course of the show, it doesn't take much for
Oh,
you to go. They were
I
racing and you were
I
free.
remember it was 5,000 to win late models, 5,000 mods, and 5,000 to win crates. That's what it was.
Okay,
It was 2 years ago. Couldn't remember the winners.
fair
Michael
enough.
Long won the mods. Actually, I do remember that, but that's the only thing I remember.
He doubts himself and then remembers it anyway. Right
He
on.
wins everything, it seems like.
Yeah, he
Especially,
was there. Right on. Well, I got my shirt, and I'll give you a better view here in a second. But I got my shirt this past weekend at Deer Creek.
there's a better view.
There we go. Anyway, so I'm not sure. I think the bottom says WAP. I assume that's just because it's like an old truck, and so like when you really give her gas, it's like WAP, 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 WAP. I assume that's what it is. So, but I dig old water trucks, so
Is
I
that is that
decided
is that what you actually think it means?
what else could it possibly mean?
I mean, it's got another meaning.
Anyway. um, so this is a shirt by it's called Bitchin' Fast. It's Emma Tim and I think they sell it on the Jake Tim trailer. So, but anyway, it's Emma Tim's clothing line. I dig it because it's like a racetrack shirt, but it's not like just a racing shirt. And honestly, she kept telling me that it was the comfort colors, and I didn't truly know what that meant. I'm not like that fancy most of the time, but she swore up and down it was comfortable. I do agree 100%. This thing is might be the most comfortable racing tee I've bought. So, definitely highly recommend the comfort colors, and the shirt's pretty slick too. So, but yeah. So obviously I went to Deer Creek. We'll probably talk about that in a minute. Wanted to hear you. You hit up a new racetrack, so we'll hear about that. But also, I think you hit an old favorite as well. So how did you go racing this weekend and tell me about it?
Yep, Thursday and Sunday. Thursday I was at Luxembourg for their it was a points night, but there was added money. And they didn't want to run on the fourth because obviously people are doing stuff, so they ran on Thursday. And it worked out for them car count wise because they had 205 cars, which I was thinking like 150 maybe at most, and they had 205. Um, and I think it was more than they expected too, because or else they probably would have moved the start time a little bit earlier instead of 7 o'clock. Um, but yeah, it was like midnight when they got done, which is not what they want at all.
Yeah.
And if they started at 6, it would have been 11, which is a little better. I mean, around here that's still late, but for most people,
I hear
11's like
11. I'm like, that's an early night.
yeah, 11's pretty good. Especially because usually they get like 110 to 120 cars, and I've
Yeah.
seen them get done before 10 in like less than 3 hours. But and then I guess the water truck broke at some point or something, so the track was not up to what they wanted either, and it ended up rubbering for the features or the second half of the features.
Yeah.
So that was I will say in the mod feature, it was quite interesting. So there was one lap car. So most of the lap cars were moving, but there was one that stayed on the bottom, and obviously it was rubbered. Everyone was running there,
Mhm.
and the entire field was behind this one lap car. And Benji ended up winning, and he didn't even try to go by him because you go up and then you fall
Yeah.
back and lose all your speed. But
Yeah.
there was the entire field, like the lap cars were like, "Oh, I'm leading this thing. I don't see anyone else on track," because the whole field, literally, there was probably like 10 to 12 cars like behind him. Like and so that was it was like I've seen
I
a lot
could
of
just envision the flag man like hanging out the flag stand, waving the layover
like I've seen a lot of
He's like, I'm
races.
holding my line. I'm listening to the flag.
I I've seen a lot of races where it rubbered, but that one was just so weird because I've never seen one lap car hold up the entire field. Like the
Yeah,
whole no one even tried to go by. And a few guys tried like the outside and then yeah, they went from like third to like eighth or something. So
yeah.
it was not ideal. Benji also won the stock car feature that night too. But he got real lucky on that one though. Luke Lemons passed him and then under caution Luke got a flat and had to pull off and then gave Benji the lead because I don't think Benji was catching Luke. But hey, I guess you'll take it, right? Rather be
Sometimes it's some
sometimes you
better.
gotta be lucky or whatever this.
Yeah, yeah. Better to be lucky than good. I think we
Yeah.
were both reaching for the same one. So yeah,
But yeah, so a lot of cars, but yeah, not they didn't want to one, they didn't want the track to be like that, I know, and obviously they don't want to run that late. But
well, it infinitely hot out there too. It was hot where I went on Saturday. So
it wasn't terrible out. It was I
okay,
don't know in the 80s, I think.
yeah,
Um, but oh well.
yep.
Anyways, yeah, you'll have that. You'll have you won't have you can't always have a perfect night, but
I always look at it this way. I promise you that's not what they wanted.
no.
That wasn't what they were trying to do either, you know? So
On the bright
like
side,
I cut them a
the
break.
next day was the 4th of July, so almost everybody had the day off. So
Yeah.
could
There's
have been if it was like a Sunday night or something, it would have been a lot worse. Um, but then Friday, did nothing. I could have went to racing, but me and some friends shot off fireworks and whatnot. Nobody lost a finger or anything, so that was good.
didn't JPP
Um,
it or anything.
no. And then Saturday, I was gonna go to one. I think we were discussing. I was gonna go to Independence and Dubuque possibly,
Yep.
but the weather. I think I said to you looked bad. It stayed bad
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah. I saw
And
Independence right out way early on
yeah,
that Saturday. Yep.
but we decided like Wednesday or Thursday, like, yeah, we're just gonna stay local. So I was gonna go to 141 Saturday. They also rained out along with, I think only one track in Wisconsin raced on Saturday, and it was Eagle River Speedway. Somehow, like they like there was rain everywhere, and somehow like it hit them a bit, but not enough for them to have to cancel. But I think it hurt the car count there because they had like 35 cars. So
Oh, yeah, probably.
yeah, so I mean, I didn't even consider driving up there, and I've done some sketchy things to see racing. Um, and then Sunday, I went to TNT Speedway on Sunday, and they were supposed to race Saturday, and they got rained out, and they just moved it to Sunday. Um,
All right.
so, and I've never been there before, and it's on a, there's a lot of closer options to go to on a Saturday, so I probably would have never been there anytime soon. So I was like, whatever, I'll use this opportunity to check it out because there's not much going on a Sunday by us.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, when
they
you got that goal too, you want to get all the weekly tracks. So
Yeah, in
just helps
Wisconsin,
out.
yeah. So now I only
Yep.
have, I think, three dirt tracks left, some asphalt ones too.
Oh,
But yeah, so
nice.
and I'll get one more in a couple weeks, so I'll be down to two here soon, weather pending. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they had like 75 cars in five classes, which is very good for them. That was the first time that I used overflow parking. So I guess that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, and you
Well,
could kind of go
I
ahead.
was gonna say to be fair, you got a personalized car count. I thought that was kind of neat.
Oh yeah, the track replied
Yeah.
to the Facebook
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
Because yeah, they
Yeah.
don't. That was one of the. I don't even know the last one to a track with like nothing on my race pass or like a different website. But yeah, that is one of them that does not use anything. They said they're planning to add it eventually, but they just haven't gotten to it yet. Um, but yeah, honestly, it wasn't even car count that it sucks for because I can count how many cars there are for every time they come out. It's just
Yeah.
for because I like keep track of the winners of every race I go to. And sometimes if the speakers were pretty good there, so it wasn't an issue. But sometimes like you can't hear the name of the guy and you have no idea who
Yeah.
it is. And you're like looking, there was one guy where I was looking on another track's point standings to find the number and then look up the guy's name to see if that number is also the guy that's on track or whatever. I did that for the pure stocks. But yeah, thankfully I could hear most of the names and it could look confirm on Facebook. But yeah, that was really the
Yeah.
only reason I like it just so I can get the winner's name in my notes. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
day racing too. It was at 3 o'clock, which is never good for a dirt track. But I assume they didn't want to keep people there late on a
Yeah.
Sunday, especially because they had USRA late models and there's like Minnesota guys and stuff there,
Oh
and so it
yeah.
would have
Yeah.
been real unfortunate for them. But because it was day racing, it was pretty dusty. But
Yeah.
I
Huh.
mean, not much you can do. And it was fairly
You,
windy and
yeah.
warm out too, so even worse. If it was overcasty and
Yeah.
50 degrees, might not have been too bad, but
Yeah. You knew the weather and you knew the time start time, you still went, right?
yeah.
Like, I mean, I know you're not complaining, but I'm just saying, like, even to those who might, like, well, he went to a dirt race at 3 on a hot
Yeah.
day. Dirt racing was more important. Like, that's anyway.
Yeah, it was kind
But
of
yeah,
expected to be dry, so
yeah,
that
right,
didn't
right.
I wasn't why isn't it, a big cushion and all this? I
I
wasn't
just
wasn't too
don't get
upset
it. I don't
about
know.
it.
Maybe I'm in the mood to like combat those non-existent comments we don't get. But I guess you spend enough time on social media and you see these negative comments. And you're just like, are you kidding me? Like, and nobody wants. Anyway, continuing on. They're not trying to do any of this on purpose. I guess is my point. They're doing
Yeah.
their best, and circumstances are. It's Mother Nature, and she's hard to handle sometimes. So
Yeah, but yeah, so that's what I did. Oh, you might have heard of the
yeah.
USRA late model winner, Lucas Peterson, the LX,
Oh
is
yeah,
it LXV? He's the one who won, so
yeah.
I did
The
I did know
65.
him. Yeah, yeah, 65. So I did know him. I didn't have to go looking for his name.
Right
Um,
on. Yeah.
but yeah, so that's what I did. Only two races, which is I guess that's fairly normal. It's just on two weird days. It's Thursday and a Sunday. Usually it's a
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday. So
Yeah, non-typical days. But I went racing on a Friday for I think maybe the first time all season, or maybe the second. But well, I don't do this often either. But uh, circumstances such they were. I had talked last episode. I was definitely going to Deer Creek. I just wasn't sure which day, and I bet that Saturday was gonna probably not get in, and it turned out I was right. So I went on. I went on Friday. I will say I'm jealous that you had a bunch of fireworks on 4th of July because I thought that was a lock that if I was going to a race on 4th of July, I was getting fireworks. I didn't. I didn't get it. I didn't get a single firework. I mean, there were fireworks on track, but there were no like explosions in the sky.
not even like from neighbors or something nearby. Oh,
I saw two all day and it was on the ride home. There was I about the halfway point, so there's not a lot going on wherever I was, but there's just two huge fireworks that went off, and I was like, at least I got something.
so
And I was like,
usually this weekend, if you
"Eh,
go to races, like I've noticed, like at Luxembourg and other tracks, you'll see them like just in the distance from other people. But
no,
I guess
nothing.
not your
Yeah.
luck.
No, no, I didn't. I wasn't so fortunate. But anyway, the experience was fun. I definitely had fun at the track. So I wasn't. Last time I went there, I beat pit gate open. I didn't beat pit gate open this time. So that was a more reasonable hour. But got there kind of early, and I had to park in a weird spot. It was definitely busier. One of the busier days that I've ever been at Deer Creek, that's for sure. They had me park over by like the camping and stuff, which
Oh,
was new for me. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, I got there. Went into the pits as I'm one to do, and I had a whole bunch of stickers, and I did my whole pit walk, and I didn't really talk to anybody. I'm not gonna like just wait for somebody or like accost a guy and like, hey Jake, how you doing underneath this car or something? You know what I mean? Like I really try to avoid being a nuisance. So nothing casual had happened, but I was like, I have all these stickers, and I'm trying to put myself and us out there, and so. I'd seen Alex Williamson in the pits earlier, and I had made a random wave, and I was like, "Be one spot better tonight," the little fan thing, and I was like, I've had enough interactions with him in the pits over the last couple of months. Like, I feel like he's at least like respects what we're doing, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. So I went over to his trailer and I was like standing behind the car because I still don't know where I'm supposed to stand or where I'm supposed to go. And I was just kind of like, I have some stickers, and he's like, "What?" And so anyway, he comes out. So he did come out, and I was just like, "Hey, I have stickers of the podcast, and I was curious if you'd want to." And he's like, "Absolutely, man. I'll put them on the car, no problem." So I was like, internal, I was like, "Yes." But I also just took the opportunity to express my respect for kind of how he races. I know that we've talked about it off camera and a little bit in the Discord, but I'm going to use my platform a minute to just say, like, Alex Williamson, is always passing cars. I mean, it's this guy right here on the wall. He features in almost every episode. But like my dude is always passing cars. Sometimes it's like something goes wrong and something breaks and or his tire goes down or it's just a circumstance thing he has to go forward. Sometimes I'll be real. Dude trips on himself. You know, he's going a little too hard or he has a mistake. But that's life. To me, it's just kind of like that's life. Like sometimes bad stuff happens and sometimes you screw up yourself, but you just keep digging. That's like because there's no other option. You're not going to give up, right? So like so I told him this. I was just like Brad in our Discord, I was like, me and my buddy Brad just like have an immense amount of respect for how you go about your program, how you always go forward. Like you're just always grinding. And he was, you know, he's not a man of many words. I'll say that, but you know, he was appreciative. He's like, I appreciate it. Like, what else are you gonna do? And I'm like, that's just kind of it, you know. I'm like, I don't know. I'm old. I'm the old man of the group. I have definitely tripped myself a lot in life. And so like, I don't know, I can identify it or I have an extra appreciation for it, I guess is what I'm saying. So anyway, I'm a huge fan of Alex Williamson. There was a guy I was telling him about the podcast after the show, and he's like, as long as you don't have favorites. And I'm like, well, I just celebrate cool stuff, but I definitely have favorites. Like, and I think that's okay. Like, it,
Yeah, I think it's fine to have favorites. It's not like we're like the
yeah,
announcer of a race or anything. I don't.
right. I mean, I told him like our whole thing is just to celebrate cool stuff, right? Like that's what we do. We celebrate the positives and the cool shows and the stuff that maybe just doesn't get talked about as much. That's what we do. So yeah, of course we have favorites. Like we're talking about the underdog sometimes here. Of course we have favorites. But anyway, and that's not to say but the other thing on the flip side of that, it's not like we have people we dislike. We don't. We celebrate the sport. There's just some stories that resonate with us more, and we like them, and we're probably going to talk about them more than we talk about other people, and that's just kind of how it is. Anyway, off the soapbox, I guess. But anyway, it was fun to talk to Alex, and that's part of what I expressed to him. And it was extra cool to see when he rolled out on track that we were on the A frame, the A pillar post, the same. So yeah, heck yeah, and I eagle-eyed him right away. I was like, oh yeah, and so. And then I ran into Billy Steinberg of Minnesota Dirt. He was in line getting concessions, and so were we. And we struck up a conversation. I gave him a set too. So hopefully we'll see him on a USRA B mod soon here too. He races down at Deer Creek mostly and stuff. And so check him out. Minnesota Dirt is the YouTube channel. He also works for Weir's Machines. So like I feel like anytime I head south, I see Billy at the racetrack either as a race car driver, as a worker, or sometimes as a fan. Like he's definitely there in some capacity. So, pretty cool. But anyway, so I had a fun time. Picked up some shirts. So obviously, as I mentioned, I picked up this shirt. I talked to Tim a little bit, just kind of catching up with her. I'm trying to get. So my goal is to leave this season with a crew neck like sweatshirt, you know,
Hmm.
but with a hoodie pocket.
Oh, so you can store
So
stuff, store extra stuff in
see,
there.
so I love me a crew neck sweatshirt, but I always find myself wanting to put my phone or my keys or my wallet in my hoodie pocket because I'm wearing a sweatshirt. And so there's a disconnect, but I don't want the hood
You could cut the
all
hood
the
off a
time.
normal sweatshirt.
Oh, that would look so trashy. And I paid extra for the hood. You know what I mean? Like to just go cut it off. But anyway, so um we'll see if I might be able to get one. I'm working on it. I'm working on trying to pull that off. So but anyway, so that was kind of the experience side of it. The racing was well, that was where I got my fireworks. So I think you saw the late model feature um and what happened on like lap 2 or 3
That was
of
the
the
only thing of
feature.
that feature I saw was that huge pile up on the front stretch, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
coming out of four.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bummer for a bunch of reasons, but I'll tell you the one I was most frustrated about was like I paid fair bit of money to see a good race, and that didn't seem as likely moving forward because they just wiped out like almost the
Yeah, how
entire
many,
top
do you know
10.
how many guys were able to continue from that? I mean, I know Pierce definitely wasn't.
Oh, Pierce pulled off, Bruning pulled off, Ethan Dotson pulled off, Jake Tim was able to continue, Dustin Sorens. It collected, in some capacity, it collected almost the entirety of the top 10 outside. Like McCready was done too.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, so like in some form or fashion, it collected all of them. Some of them were able to continue on, but not many.
And some of them that
So
might have been able to continue might not have been up. Their car might not have been 100% at that point
there
either.
was definitely some of that too. Yeah. So like Jake Tim, I think was running in the top 10 at the time, and he came out, ended up being second. um, but I don't think he was even in the redraw at the time, or it started the race from a redraw position. I don't think. So like that tells you how much carnage. He was somewhere behind 10th probably, and he was running second or third when it was all said and done on the restart. So for what it's worth, though, he gave it a go. Jake put on a show. He gave Hoffman a little bit of fits, and he battled for second for a while before fading. The crowd was definitely behind him after all that, and the crowd was not behind Nick Hoffman at all. He was pretty contrite was the word that I think I landed on, which made the most sense. Like he felt like maybe it didn't have to go down like that a little bit was kind of his point. Like he at one point he sort of exasperatedly was like he could have lifted. Like, he didn't quite understand how it played out that way. But Ethan Dotson interviewed during the incident was like, I don't know what the hell we're doing that junking race cars on the first effing lap.
You could like,
So
because you could say Bruning could have lifted, but Bruning could just be like, well, Hoffman could have not thrown a slider on lap 2 or 3. Like you could
right.
go both sides.
Yeah, you didn't need to throw that slider there. From where I was sitting, so I was sitting like down the front stretch from it. This was coming out of 4 and I was down. Like from my vantage point, it looked like a sketchy slider, but at one point it looked like everything had cleared and they were going to keep racing. Only till they did I mean, it's easier from like an aerial view, but it was hard to see Bruning turning until like he was turned, and then you were like, "Oh no, that didn't work out so well." Um, so, and then Bobby's flip was kind of scary. Just well, anytime a car flips, it's a little bit scary. But he was just in the middle of like
Of
a
the whole
mass
group.
of
Yeah.
cars. Yeah, yeah. So thankfully, I mean, everyone was okay and able to walk away, but there was a lot of junked cars, and the race was affected. I think Shirley would have. Shirley definitely looked like later in the race, like he was going to have a chance to win. You didn't said you didn't see much more of it. Well,
No.
um, Hoffman did not curry favor. I kind of felt like watching the lap cars definitely were racing him a lot harder than you would normally see a leader get raced. Um, and so at one point they were in lap traffic, and Chamberlain I felt like was racing Hoffman pretty hard back, and Shirley went to go make a move as Hoffman like cleared him, and he went to go low to slide Chamberlain, and Chamberlain was kind of racing Hoffman back anyway, and he just closed the line, and Shirley spun from
Oh,
second. He was able to keep going, so he was like restarted fourth, but
blended
that
in.
kind of yeah, he blended in. Um, but that kind of crushed his momentum there too. I mean, I'm pretty sure Gustin started out of a provisional and finished second by the time all of this
Oh,
craziness was done. So, anyway, speaking of Gustin, he put on a show with Bobby on Friday too. I think you might have saw a little bit of that, or
that
maybe you
was,
didn't
I
see any
watched
of
the
it.
highlights of that one.
Yeah, yeah, but they put on a pretty good show. So the racing was solid Thursday, I would say. Could have been awesome on Saturday, but instead it was solid-ish. And then Saturday got rained out, which was a bummer. That was the one thing everyone was talking about at the end of the night. Like, so Brandon Davis won the Northern Lights portion of the show. Alex Williamson again charged from like 22nd to 7th or something, or I think he was plus 13 on the night. So like I said, no one in the country passes more cars on a night to night basis than Alex Williamson. But anyway, Brandon Davis won, and he had even mentioned like, I hope we get tomorrow in because 50 laps is going to be killer with these guys out here, and it would
Oh
have
yeah.
been. It would have. I probably would have been phenomenal, but it wasn't to be. So, but that was Deer Creek and the World of Outlaws. They put on a fairly solid show. I think if the weather was better, I would have rather gone Saturday. I
If I had to
also,
pick one, I mean, you get more
yeah,
laps.
get more laps and probably fireworks.
That too.
Can you tell how upset I'm? Like genuine. I know you think fireworks at a racetrack are stupid, and I'm conscious. Like I hope you can see how real it is. It's not just something I take to razz you. I'm genuinely pissed I didn't get fireworks.
I don't mind fireworks. It depends when they're used. If they're at the end and I can leave, it's fine. I also they're kind of cool if it's like at the
If I
start of a
can
race,
leave, that's not
because
getting
yeah,
fireworks.
because
That's
it
leaving
doesn't slow the
fireworks.
show. But if they do them like if they light off like a few before the feature starts, I don't mind that either because that's like kind of cool. But I'm not trying to watch a
Yeah.
20-minute show at intermission time.
I agree. Have them, but have them at the end, or have like I hell a 5 minute show before the feature. I'm cool with. Maybe that's too
Five
much
minutes
for
is
you,
fine.
but a
I don't mind
quick
5 minutes.
infield show while they're
Especially
like pacing or
if you're
whatever.
doing
Yeah,
or even if they're doing track preps, you're gonna have a 20-minute track prep break. Screw it, let
yeah,
off some fireworks then. But
yeah.
if we're just stopping the show and doing absolutely nothing, then it's like, all right.
Or during the first couple laps. We've talked about this before. That's a perfect time to do it.
It would
But
have been
instead, I got
interesting
nothing.
if they did it during the first few laps at Deer Creek. It would have been interesting because there would have just been all these guys pissed off as there's fireworks going off as Pierce
Yeah.
is upside down, cars are smashed up.
That would have been a bad look. Well, that was already a restart because Chris Simpson, I believe, broke
Oh,
on the
second
first or
race,
second
gotcha.
lap. So that was off a restart. So yeah, that
It's
was
just
fireworks
not as
would be.
cool if they're instantly under caution. You just got fireworks going
No,
off.
it's just not. It's not gonna work. Everyone thinks they're annoying at that point. You really need the stars to align. But anyway, so those guys go again this weekend at Sharon Speedway for 12,000 and 15,000. So we'll check back in with them in a couple of weeks, probably. You didn't catch any Lucas stuff this weekend, yeah?
I caught some of Saturday, like I had it on, but
Okay,
I
okay.
wasn't locked into it.
All right. Well, we'll just recap Friday real quick. So Bishop won. I caught the highlights of that. That track was. I heard it was rough, and then I watched the highlights, and like first lap, Sheppy's of the feature. So it was rough, but
Yeah,
Shepard.
I didn't even realize it was rough at all. And then earlier today, I saw a video from Garrett Elberson, and he like was up in the air at one point, like he hit a rut. And that was, yeah, I guess somehow I missed everything saying it was rough until today. But
But you can verify you saw it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I think something like 11 cars finished the race. Ferguson was leading and broke at one point. Moran was in second and broke at one point. I think Huddy was somewhere in the top five and broke at one point. It was definitely a war of attrition. But then on Saturday they went to Muskingum County. I think I'm saying that right. Uh, and that was for 25,000 as well. Atomic was 25,000. Bishop won that, like we mentioned. But anyway, Muskingum County, Huddy won. Um, I watched that race with a buddy. So this may sound weird, but I I don't think you do that very often. How frequently would you say you like watch a race at your house or someone else's house, like with people?
like once a year maybe,
Right? It's a
if that.
pretty infrequent exactly. Like, and I have people over and I'll sometimes like have the race over there, but I don't it's pretty rare. But anyway, my buddy was over, my buddy Joel, who I've talked about before, and we watched the race together, and that was actually a really cool experience. So I'm gonna work on doing that more. Um, but so that was I
That's
go
good to
ahead.
do for like big shows too, like Eldora something like that. Like the one time I did it was like the Chili Bowl. We would do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that would be a good one too. Like most of my friends aren't dirt racing friends, right? Like the people I hang out with on a more frequent basis. Um, but some of them enjoy it. My buddy Joel does. Like so like this past weekend I decided to goof around and do the smoked bologna that I've sort of been a bit of a rage lately on at least you know, everyone's feed is so different. We all live in a personalized feed world, but like I see it because I do
I
smoking stuff
never
anyway.
saw it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but anyways, I smoked some bologna. I did it 2 different ways, and I decided I wanted to have people come over and eat it because that was going to be a lot of smoked meat, and I needed some folks. So, my neighbors came over, and then my buddy Joel came over, and then we all ate, and we were all tired, and it was a long Saturday, and so the neighbors headed home, and Joel and I hung out and watched the race. But it was, yeah, I like smoking meats, and I like watching races, so I think I can convince some people to come over and do this with me more often. Um, but anyway, it was fun to watch. Also, the beauty of like watching it with somebody. So I watched the whole race, looked at, turned it down. Remember sitting on the couch looking at the podium and going, "That's different than I thought the running order was," and then didn't realizing that Jonathan Davenport got DQ'd the next day.
Yeah, I remember seeing like the end, and I saw Hudson won, and I know he was battling with JD for a while, but as soon as like Hudson crossed the line, switched to something else. So yeah, I didn't even realize he was DQ'd till later that night when I was on Facebook or whatever. Like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at the podium, and if my old man memory serves, it was like Huddy, Alberson, and Sheppy, and I was like, don't feel like that was the running order. But and it just kept on. But anyway, so those guys go again. They have a bit of a busier schedule coming up. So they're at 34 Raceway Thursday or tomorrow. And then this weekend, Friday and Saturday, they're at Lucas Oil for 15,000 and 25,000. And then Tuesday, the next Tuesday, the 15th of July, they're at Shelby County for $25,053. And then I guess speaking of Shelby County, you and I were chatting before, but there's this SLMR event there this coming Saturday. Um I believe it's Raylan Zeitner Memorial, and it's 10,000 to win with, and I think it's a joint show with SLMR East and West. And you had
Yeah,
mentioned they got a
I got like
fair bit.
43 or 40 to
Yeah.
45 late models last year
Okay.
for that. So yeah, they run late models a good amount there, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, their rules are a bit different than like Lucas, I believe. So that's probably part of it. And it's on a Saturday versus
Yeah.
a Tuesday. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. Not
I
sure
wouldn't
if
be.
many.
I would say I wouldn't be surprised if we see like 40 something again this Saturday and then like 20 to 25 on Tuesday for the Lucas show.
Could be. Definitely could be. But hopefully some of them stick around or are close enough, and they just want to give her a go and head out, because it's a pretty big paying show, for a Tuesday,
Yeah.
25 grand. So hopefully if well, just hopefully people support it, right? Like we're always celebrating and hoping for the best. So, but I thought that was interesting to mention. We've talked about them here and there, but 10 grand's a pretty big show for them. So, um, but then also this past weekend, so Heartland Modified Tour ran. You didn't catch much of it. I caught a little bit here and there. So I'm just gonna kind of recap it real quick. But so on when Thursday, days, last Thursday, July 3rd, they were at Lucas Oil and Tyler Wolf won. Um, he also won the late model feature, and then the next day went to Lakeside and won another late model feature. So
Oh, I didn't even
yeah,
realize he was running a late model.
yeah. It looked like he runs them almost equal amounts.
Oh,
Because I did a little digging, and I mean maybe one a slightly more than the other, but it looked like he was running both of them. But not much of either, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Also, that I guess sparks a memory. So Terry Phillips, I guess, was retired, is unretired in late model, and he went and won 10 grand at where was that? Enid Speedway in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
He won 2 features. He won the prelim feature and then the actual main Saturday feature. I think he led like every lap of the weekend, but the Saturday feature was the 10 grand to win. So he pulled that down. Um, and then getting back to Heartland, I guess I got sidetracked there. My bad. Getting back to Heartland, Friday Shadron Turner won at Central Missouri in a pretty pretty interesting race with Bobby Williams for a while. And then Dustin Hodges, who used to run MLRA, I believe, um, won Saturday at Central Missouri with Heartland as well. And then worth throwing in or mentioning, because I have a shirt signed by him, so now I'm like one of his biggest fans. But Cole Falloway, Cole Falloway picked up a big win at the Merrill, I believe it's the Merrill Downey Memorial at Lawrenceburg Speedway. He ended up taking home $7,204, but I think that was a late breaking
It was
purse increase.
originally 5,000. I think it was 5,444. It was 5,000
That would
something, I
make
know for sure.
that would make sense.
But yeah, it must. I think it was added like the day of or something, or at least for
I
sure the
think so
week of.
too. I think the day of, because I was like, I saw some posts like talking about it beforehand, and then afterwards I saw Falloway's post, and it was like he won more money than he said he was racing with or racing for earlier in the night. So yeah, I think it was real late, but hey, that's cool. That's a big money show. They had 34 guys there, so solid-ish car count as well. Um, but anyway, sticking with modifieds for just one more second. So upcoming this week, we've got the K Town Clash at Mississippi Thunder with uh,
Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, who I saw earlier. But anyway, so that's kind of what's going on. Um,
When does USMTS race again? Are they on like a month-long break?
yeah, they have another month long break.
Oh,
They
gotcha.
race. They kick back up when I go see them next week. I think it's next
Oh, at
weekend.
Ogilvy.
Yeah, so Princeton. So it's Fairmont, Princeton, Ogilvy, and Granite City is the swing. I'm trying to get to 3 or 4 of those, but we'll see what happens. Um, but yeah, so they're off for another week. But anyway, I'm just gonna ask: did you see this? Did you see what happened at Sonoya with Hunt the Front? There was like 2 wild incidents in one night of racing.
I saw both. I saw
Yeah,
the catch fence deal with the car,
yeah,
and then I saw the Corey Hedgecock, Michael Page deal as well.
yeah. Well, the catch fence thing was scary, and
Yeah,
hopefully that's a lesson to everyone. Stay the f back. But thankfully, I believe everyone is okay, and everyone's been released from the hospital. I believe that's what I saw earlier today. So I think everyone's good from that. So that's awesome. It could have been so much worse, and it's so scary to watch. So, let that be a lesson. Stay the hell back. Um, but the Corey Hedgecock thing, um, I mean, I don't want to condone fighting, but he did just go like from the top rope and just kind of jump in and get after
they
it.
like
So
speared him. It was Hedgecock
it
spearing
did.
Page, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, they're
rem- it
like,
it reminded me of. It's not even like similar, but it reminds me of when Edge speared Jeff Hardy from a ladder when he was hanging off the. I don't know if you ever seen that clip. It was
yeah,
the Money in the.
that's a
Yeah,
very iconic clip. Yeah, if I've
yes.
ever seen it. Oh, come on, man. But
But
yeah.
that's I don't know why. It's just like that's what I thought of like when I saw it. And then they went
Oh,
flying on the ground, rolling around.
it's a pretty good. We should get Ryan to cut that up. But yeah, I mean, I'm not ever. I don't go to the dirt track to see MMA, but I guess if you're gonna be pissed off and some guy's gonna ram you after the checkered into the wall, might as well throw down on the front or the back stretch. It beats the pits
Yeah, do
by
it
a
where
long
people could
mile.
see.
So yeah, there to put on a show. I guess put on a show. He went for it. I mean, I couldn't imagine jumping from one car onto another, spearing a guy and rolling off the top and hitting the ground. And I, all the stuff I saw, the pictures from way back, but it looks like they kept going for a while. So that was just the beginning. So anyway, that was just crazy. But yeah, I don't know. And then there was like I don't think you caught this, but at the Hell Tour, apparently the winners got a little cussy, and the track was like, "We want to remind everyone to this family friendly atmosphere," which is their right. I want to be fair, but like, I don't know. Again, maybe you don't need it, but I'm all for people showing genuine emotion, right? Like, I don't know. I've said WWE needs to come back, and I didn't necessarily mean fighting, but like, I do mean personality. I do mean genuine emotion. There's something better. I don't know. I'm just not a real. I don't find it very like compelling or like really draws fans to the sport when the guy's just kind of like, yeah, I want to thank my sponsors. I got this guy and this guy, like, and then he mumbles a little bit, and then that's
I
the end
mean,
of it. Oh,
when I watch like racing online, if depending who the winner is, will decide if I stay for the interview or not. So like if it's a boring guy, I'll turn it off. If it's Brandon Overton or something like that, like I'll keep it on pretty much every time for the interview. So like
yeah,
sometimes yeah, you need personalities. Just like that's how people want to see certain guys talk. And if you have guys with a personality,
yeah.
people might come just to talk to the guy or something like that, come to your track and whatnot.
I'm not saying force it or have it be contrived or whatever, but like if you're an emotional, I guess I come at it from this angle because I guess I am a little bit, as you can tell, I talk with my hands and I get animated and excited. I'm a bit of an emotional guy, right? So like, some guys are like that. Some guys are more reserved. Like, just be yourself, I guess, is what I'm saying. But if you're animated and you're emotional, like, you don't have to be contrived in victory lane. If you're effing happy, be effing happy. Like I've always said about Tony Jensen, that dude's happy every time he wins. I've seen him win like 7 times this year already. He's equally jacked every time. Good for him. Winning's effing fun, and I agree with Tony Jensen on that. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on all of that stuff. So anyway, let's pivot to kind of what we're doing next week. So I've got nothing going on. I'm not even gonna pretend like I got stuff going on, but you do have a fairly busy schedule, so let's chat about it.
Yeah, I almost said I'm going to Luxembourg Friday. I'm going to Outa Gamey Speedway on Friday. Um, just they just have like a weekly show, I believe. And then Saturday I'm at Plymouth. Theirs is a weekly show, and then Sunday I'm going to Luxembourg. And they have the Prelude to the King, which is the stock car special at 141. And it's 2,000 to win for stock cars, and then I think mods and sport mods are a little bit boosted. Not like a ton, but they're the support classes. And that's on Sunday, and it's during the fair in Luxembourg, which I hate
Ooh.
fair races, so that'll be interesting. Um, so we'll see.
Hates fireworks, hate
Fair races,
fairs.
I hate those because it's parking and everything's a mess there. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
and you
get
end up
it.
paying for the fare, parking. Sometimes you pay for the entrance to the track. Yeah, it's a whole mess. I don't have to worry about paying because I'm streaming it, I guess, but it's still will be interesting to see how that works. Um, but then I guess since the Prelude to the King, I'll also be going to the King of the Creek at 141, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's 10,000 to win for the IMCA stock cars. So that's probably my favorite of their three like big weekday specials between the mods, stock cars, and sport mods. And last year they had 82 stock cars, and I was looking, they only had 6 out-of-state stock cars, so they had what is that, 76 in-state stock cars show up, which is kind of crazy that there's that many with not that many tracks around here that run stock cars. Um,
Right?
so yeah, hopefully if they get 70, I mean honestly, if they get 60, I'd be happy, but 70
Yeah.
would be perfect. But
Or
they
hell,
do,
let's beat last year.
yeah, 83 at least.
Yeah.
But they run the same format as the Clash of the Creek, so at least I think they do. I don't know why they would change it, but
That's
I
how I
hope they,
remember you telling
yeah,
the story this
yeah,
leading up to today.
yeah.
So
So on Tuesday it would be heats, Bs, and then 2 qualifying features.
yep.
And then they lock in the top 5 from each feature. So they have 10 locked in going into Wednesday, and then Wednesday
Mhm.
it's heat races, a B main, or they call it a final four, but it's pretty much a B main, and then the main
Mhm.
feature, and then it's a
Then the
full
main
show
feature
for I don't remember. I think it's Legends and mods on Tuesday, and then Street Stocks and Sport mods on Wednesday. It's a full show for
on the
both of
main day.
those. So yeah,
Okay. Right on. Cool, cool. Are you going to both days of that?
yep.
Right on. Yeah. Well, that so you just talked about a 2,000 to win stock car show and a 10,000 to win. And there's like a couple other huge stock car shows out there too. So um I guess the sort of what to watch or what to pay attention portion, I do want to highlight. So Dirt Crown has two pretty big shows back to back starting this weekend on Sunday, July 13th. They're at Boone County Raceway in Nebraska, and that's the Tanner Pelster Memorial. So we've got $10,111 to win stock cars and $3,111 to win hobby stocks. So I think you had told me about this show a few weeks ago. So I know this is one you're pretty familiar with.
Yep,
Um, yeah. So this should be a fairly stout field. And then we've got I think that's the Monday after, right?
the day after, yeah.
The day after, yep. So the second annual Joey Hergott Memorial. This one's kind of interesting. You were telling me a little bit about it, but so we've got like one feature but two stages.
Yeah, so it's like, from my understanding is, they do heat speeds, whatever, like a normal show. They
Yep.
start 24, and then they run a 22 lap feature, and then whoever's leading at the end of 22 laps gets 3K, and then they take a 3-minute break for like I think just fuel and stuff, like simple
Okay.
changes, and then they only take 20 for the next stage, so four guys get left out. So unfortunate for
Okay.
those four, but and then they run another 22 laps, and the winner of that one gets 3,000. And then there's also like you can get like a $4,000 bonus. We don't know what the bonus is for. We tried to find it.
Yeah.
It could
It,
be
it,
like,
it,
it could be if you win both. It could be like overall points
I
between
think
both.
so. I think it has something to do with just the second feature, like
Yeah,
the,
it's we don't really
but
know.
it
It's something though. It could
it
be
must
hard
have to do.
charger. It's a
Yeah,
mystery.
yeah. I don't know. Someone's could leave with 10 grand. That's all we know, and that's kind of
Yeah,
cool. But then they've got like boosted payouts for a bunch of classes. So they've got 3,000 to win hobby stocks, 4,000 to win sport compacts, and 2,000 to win mods and sport mods. So I think I saw they'd mentioned pre-entries earlier this week, and I think they had somewhere around 120 already. So
yeah.
hopefully they can get some more. But yeah, I think they had close to 40 sport compacts already. So those guys are going to show up for 4 grand. That's for sure. But anyway, I guess turning this into a bit of our little regional roundup, I'm going to mention two other stock car series in and around our area. So the DRC.TV Street Stock Tour is back, and they're in Wisconsin. So Friday at Red Cedar and Saturday at Rice Lake, and
Rice
then
patty. So I've
the
heard
Rice
I heard it
Patty.
called the rice patty once, and I thought it was hilarious. That's it
I
called Rice
like
Lake.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it's derogatory or not, but I like it.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I don't know what the intention is, but I dig it. That sticks. And then oh no, I deleted one of these shows. But so there's two shows in Missouri for the USRA Ironman Stock Car tour. I believe they're at US 36 and I-35.
Yep.
So yeah. So and those are 1,200 to win. So lots of stock car racing out there
Yeah,
this
it's a
this
big week for
weekend.
stock cars.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're about to transition here into one for the road and doing all of our research and stuff. That was like all of this, just the stock car shows. Like, oh, there's another big one over here and another big one over here. So, I mean, uh, yeah. So I'll even throw out there's a 3,000 to win super stock show out at Brown County. Friday, Saturday, it's the Andy Daly Super Stock Special. But so they're running for 3,000 and 1,200 bucks in South Dakota. So really, stock cars, like anywhere, my man. So, but anyway, Carter, that is, I believe, everything we talked about, which means it's time for.
The one for the road, and mine is Cedar Lake Speedway is having surprisingly not a stock car special. They're having a
Yeah, they didn't get the memo.
they're starting the month of money, and they got 2,500 to win for mods and Midwest mods. So I mean, they usually get a solid car count there normally. So hopefully they get. I mean, if they get 30, 35 in each, I'd be as a fan, I'd be happy with that. So. But yeah, I'll monitor that. I think it used to be 5K, so they lowered it a bit, but oh, dog's freaking out. Dog's
Uh-oh.
excited for the month of money.
Who
They
wouldn't be?
lowered it a bit, but I think they should still get a solid car count for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of Cedar Lake, did you see earlier today I saw they released like a pre-entry list for the Dwayne Mader Memorial.
Yep.
57 so far.
Yeah, that's one that if I get rained out over by me, if it gets rained out early enough by me, I'll be heading over to Cedar Lake for that next
Okay.
weekend, not this week, but we'll
Yeah.
see what happens there.
Yeah. I think they're shooting to get over 60. I mean, I feel like they can probably nail it. They
Yeah,
they
if
they
they already got
extended it over.
57, as long as the weather works out, they should probably, I'd assume they get over
Yeah.
60.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I saw
Um.
there's some Eastern Wisconsin guys going there too, so that's cool too. From my area, like Anvilink I saw is going and whatnot. So,
Oh, right on. Yeah. Some of the Dirt King guys and stuff. So
yep.
yeah, awesome. I actually dig that a lot. Like that's been one of our ongoing storylines. I think a little bit is just like I think here in like Minnesota, Western Wisconsin, Iowa, like the late model car count seem to be a little bit on the rise a little bit, or it feels that way. That's what we're noticing. So it's just kind of cool to see. But yeah, if I wasn't going to be at USMTS that weekend, I would try to join you. But I'm pretty sure I'll be having a pretty good time on that Saturday. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, well, so for mine, I do want to quickly just touch on mine from last week, I guess. So I talked about the farm stock special at ABC Raceway. Um, the update I most wanted, which was how many hot dogs they went through, I wasn't able to get. So I have no update on that. But I can report that Kevin Burdick won 1,500 in a late model, and Andrew Mackey won $2,000 in a modified. So those guys picked up some checks. And then I'd also mentioned the Great Lakes border battle at Gondik Law with Wissota Late Model Challenge Series. They got rained out on Saturday, which stinks. But Friday looked like the mod feature was a banger. Bob Broking ended up winning. He fended off Daryl Nelson, who's like the career mod winner. Like he has the most career mod wins at Gondik Law. He fended him off for like 10 laps. And then Don Ishins came digging on the bottom for the last handful and really gave him a run for his money and held him off too. So like we were talking last week, the racing was pretty bomb for that. And then Pat Dorr won in the late models, which is I feel like I've seen him win a load of times there. I mean, I've seen Pat Dorr win a lot of times in a late model, but I've seen him win a lot of times at Gondik Law in the late model. And at Ogilvy too. So I'm sure I'll see more of that this summer. But anyway, so that's the recap on that. Also, speaking of Daryl Nelson, he won $5,000 in a late model up at Hibbing last Tuesday, I think it was
Yep,
too.
Tuesday.
So yeah. But no, my one for the road, I wanted to point out Dan Ebert has a new wrap, and I am an absolute fan of this wrap. Like, I love this wrap. So, on the car, racing, I think it looks so clean, but it's a USA 1 wrap. USA 1 is like, to me, now your mileage may vary on this, but to me, is like, in my childhood, is like one of the original monster trucks. It's like him and Bigfoot. And if I remember the way my dad tells the story, and he might not even tell the story right, but it was USA 1 first. And maybe he's wrong, but that's my lore. And so Dan Ebert has a rap inspired by this. So obviously I'm a huge fan. I just think it's super cool. I'm definitely going to be buying my dad a shirt. Now, I'm looking at your face and you don't look nearly as excited as I do about this. So it's an
Yeah,
awesome wrap, yeah?
I don't think it was that cool. I don't know. It's like all white besides a little bit of American flag coming off the number. And then they made the top half black. Didn't like that at all. They should have done
It
all
looks
white or
too much.
something.
No, I
All
mean, maybe a blue would have looked good or a red would have looked good, but the black I think adds something. So I'm
and
disagreeing with you
and I
there,
like simple wraps too, but I did not like that one was I'd say
but
fairly simple. Like there wasn't a ton, but I did not like that at all. And also, I
oh
know Bigfoot
man.
as the original monster. I didn't even know who this USA 1 monster truck was until right now. So
Our most watched thing if anything is monster trucks, and you're gonna say this.
it was Monster Jam, which I don't remember USA 1 out there with Gravedigger and Maximum Destruction, so he can't be that good.
And I don't remember Bigfoot ever being good with Monster Jam.
No, but I remember him being there. So
Oh, If we're gonna get old school, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. Do you know Monster Patrol?
Um, maybe, I don't know. I don't think so. It sounds like Paw Patrol.
But it predates it. It's probably stolen from this, but yeah, Paw Patrol was my favorite. It was black and neon green, and it had a big sprint car wing on it, and a headlight because it's patrolling for monsters. So, but yeah, so Monster Patrol was always my favorite as a kid. So if that pops up as a rap somewhere down the line, I'm gonna be so pumped. But yeah, I love this USA one, and like I said before, there's some nostalgia factor to it as well, and maybe that's just like this truck's from my area, right? Like I grew
Is
up
it
knowing
is
about this.
the wrap very accurate to the monster truck wrap?
It's pretty similar. I
Oh, so
mean, the
that's a
monster
plus.
truck is white and says USA 1 with the flag, which they incorporated, but there's only so much you can do, right? I like what they did with the numbers and trying to pull some other colors into it and kind of make it look good. I think it looks really good. So, um, yeah. And it'll be a cool way to get my dad his first racing tee. So, right on. But anyway, I think that's everything, buddy. That's the whole episode. So
Yep, that's all I got.
if they're still here, what do they got to do?
Like, comment, subscribe, share, um,
Something.
retweet, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, it's just something. Please, if you're still here, at least drop a like. I don't know. Honestly, I had a buddy of mine so I never talked about this last episode, but I went to the horse track with a buddy. But anyway, he had asked, like, does that stuff help? And I was like, honestly, yes. Even one, it might not feel like it makes a difference. They're like, oh, there's only 3 likes. Like, what is another one gonna do? You'll be surprised. Like that little bit will push us a little bit further. We'll get more people will see us. If you think we're, worth hanging out with this long, someone else might too. So just like help us out, please. Hit the like. I hate begging, but I know I'm seeing the results and it does help us. So thank y'all so much. I won't be so dramatic about it next week, promise. But anyway, catch you next week.
See ya.